Hello again. Today we're going to be checking out a Vivosun 6-inch 390 CFM inline duct fan. These are a lighter duty fan meant for horticultural applications usually. Some light duty household applications, nothing where you're dealing with heating or cooling. They're very specific about that. The internal parts on this thing are not designed for that. Like I said, it's inexpensive. So if you're looking for something more high-end, then you're going to be looking something with a metal case and whatnot. I did actually tour a factory in Germany, the Rook factory, way back, and saw how they were built, and pretty impressive actually. Even for back then, it was really state-of-the-art. This is not that. This is a very light-duty, inexpensive kind of a fan for horticultural applications, essentially. Without further ado, let's open up the box and see what we got. So I picked this up off the internet. It was part of a kit with a filter, a fan, and some ducting for a reasonable price. And that's what we get so far. So it's a tube fan, whatnot. Looks like we got a kick plate, mounting plate, however you want to call it. A little silver grayish clip in there. Fairly securely wrapped up. It's not overly heavy. It's a lightweight, designed, like I said, to be used in maybe some indoor garden tent, something like that. So that is it. It is, like I said, the Vivosun 6-inch is your output right there, and the input side has the actual fan blades and whatnot on them. Bearings aren't bad. That's not great. It's not as efficient as some of the higher end ones I've seen. So we have the in and the out here as your mounting plate, so you can mount it in place, mount the plate, and then put the fan on it afterwards if you want. So that's in place. It came with a couple of extra clips, 2 to be exact. They're replacements for these here. If you need to disassemble the fan to clean it or whatnot, you can clip these off, and I guess if they break or you lose them, they give you a couple extras. So that's thinking ahead. That's kind of nice. We got our motor control on here. I say motor control because that is not a dimmer switch. Dimmer switches, when used on motors, will usually burn them out in short order. The difference here is that a motor control controls the voltage, and a dimmer switch controls voltage and amps. So if you have a dimmer switch on this thing, you're toning down the amps and the voltage, and it burns it out. Motors typically require a set amount of amps, and if you start messing with that, you're going to shorten the life of your motor. So don't do that with a dimmer switch. So like I said, it's not overly heavy. It looks pretty good. I mean, if that's all you're looking for, a fan that looks great, then you got it right here. So let's plug this in and see how it sounds. Back in a sec. Alright, so we'll start out at full, and then half, maybe 3/4, and then all the way down to its lowest setting, and we'll see how it sounds from there. So here we go. So that's its lowest setting right there. Not terrible. I mean, once you put ducting and maybe a filter on it, you won't really hear that much at all. So that's not too bad. I'm impressed. Alright, so like I said, it's not terrible. If you're, once you put it in line and put some ducting on it, possibly a filter, maybe a couple S-turns on the output side, you won't get that kind of jet engine sound, and it'll be fairly quiet for how much air it's moving. So not bad, not bad. Okay, so now let's take a look at what else came in with this kit, and yeah, back in a second. Okay, so in this kit also came a box of 6-inch aluminum ducting. So that's not your typical dryer vent stuff. That is usually a plastic and ABS or something like that. A little different. This is the aluminized version. One thing I really like about these kits is that they give you the clamps with them. If you have to buy them by themselves, it would tend to be expensive, more than they need to be. A couple of mounting straps for this. I found these not to be overly great. Quite honestly, I prefer using paracord and a couple of cinch knots. It works really well. So that goes there, and this is just your standard flexible ducting. It is the aluminized version. This tends to be fairly fragile, actually, easily punctured, and especially if it's moved or that, or if you bump something into it. There is a different variety. There's several, actually. You have usually your clear plastic, which is really cheap. You have your aluminized, which is the next step up. Then you have this one, which is aluminum on the inside, and then it's got a fireproof protective cover on the outside. Not really that expensive either. It's actually, in a lot of cases, it's cheaper than this if you get the right deal and sale. This also has some sound dampening properties. Not as much as insulated. If this had a thing of fiberglass around it or whatever, and then another coating over top of that, which is usually the last step up, and that will muffle sound for sure. This is my preferred. This I'll use if I get it free, kind of a thing or something. Yeah, but this one is by far my favorite. So PVC and C aluminum combo ducting. Okay, so that's our ducting and our clamps. This is, like the box says, 6-inch, and it's 16 feet. Usually they come in 25-foot sections, but now because of the indoor horticultural scene being scaled down much smaller, you can get them in 8-foot sections. Whatever you kind of need. So the straps. And this is the filter. I tend to know quite a bit about these. I was part of the team that had first introduced carbon filters to North America from the Netherlands. Spent time over there learning and product sourcing and whatnot, touring factories and whatnot. So I'm fairly well versed in this kind of stuff. I'm not expecting a whole lot. There are a lot of inexpensive kind of knockoffs for the, like I said, the new horticultural scene that's popping up. So the knockoff ones, which I would probably class this as, because it's not an original, they tend to work with varying degrees of effectiveness, and it's because of the way they're put together and the carbon inside. But I can honestly say now that for most people's applications, these will do the job, and they're not that expensive. So yeah, if you want the best, you pay for it. If you want something inexpensive, then you can go this route. So get rid of that. And there is your carbon filter. A lot of people don't know this, is that the carbon is constantly working. It's always active. So if you are going to store it or whatnot, you want to wrap it up in some plastic and then put it in a box or something, because if not, anything that is exposed to the outside air will be absorbing odors. or doesn't matter if you want it to or not. That's its job. It's going to do it. So if you want to extend the life of your filter and that, just wrap it up and you're good to go. These ones use, I can tell right away, they use not a pelletized carbon, which is my preferred version, but again, it's not terrible. There's not a lot of charcoal dust on the inside, which is a very good sign. It's got a vortex kind of a end cap on it, designed to make the airflow go through it better, and it's not overly heavy and it's not overly chintzy. This flange on the top is actually a decent quality compared to other ones I've bought and seen. Again, it's not an expensive one, so you're not getting a whole lot there, but it's better than most. And yeah, this is your pre-filter. It comes off. You can clean it, wash it, dry it, and then put it back on again if need be. And this is to absorb, take out the dust and stuff which could go through and clog up the pores in your carbon and make your carbon filter expire sooner. So okay, so there's a few different ways you can kind of hook these up that work really well. One is you have your filter, then duct, then fan, then duct and out. Or like here, you can actually insert the fan right into the flange on the filter and run it that way. You could have it standing up on its end. I don't have the room to do that here in the frame, but you picture this with its bottom on the ground straight up, and then it would draw the air through. You could use it as a scrubber kind of a deal. You need to be careful that the inside of this doesn't have a pre-filter. So if you are blowing into the filter and having it come out the filter, out the sides, you're going to clog up your carbon a lot sooner because the dust and stuff is not taken out by the pre-filter that way. And I have not yet seen a pre-filter for the inside. Has to do with the surface area and how much it restricts the airflow. So yeah, this is just kind of a neat way to hook it up that I thought I would share. That is it in a nutshell. It's your Vivosun 6-inch 390 CFM fan duct carbon filter combo. If you have experiences with these kind of things or questions and that, hit me up in the comment sections below. Hit that like and subscribe button. It always helps me out and keeps me making stuff. So thanks for watching, and until next time, happy gardening.